Oh yeah, maybe mixing bucket. Mixing buckets. it should be good. This needs to get plugged up. Right? No. Yes. 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 Okay. Thank you. Yeah, pouring in here, just there. What do I do with it? Okay. I need a bit of stainless stuff over. Oh, bucket. Should figure that out too. So, hello, by the way, who's out there? Come on. Ow. Come on. It's so dumb. It's not great. Fucking box is gonna work better. Just throw out all the boxes. Dang. You're way too shallow. Let's see if that works. It might be too small. Oh, that works, actually. I think it works. Let's see if I can tilt it. Really stuck my finger in something. That's not my registration keys. Oops. Alright. Check, because anything is still here at this point being rubber. Spent a lot of time getting this perfect. I don't want to screw it up now. It's a tripping on the finish line thing. Alright, so yeah, the box I think will work. Thanks, move on. Why do you do that every this little wrench. Love this one. Works so well and makes me so happy. Alright. So we're pouring here on this side. So this side is where the final pour spout is going to be. Right here. So you need a hole to get in there to get resin into it, so that needs to be a hole. That's what this is for. Right. Yes. So first time I did this helmet was all clay on top, so I just shoved the tube in there, and that was nice and convenient. It's not this time, so I have to glue to it. Stupid bits. I want to make sure I don't leak in here too much. I'm just going to dump a whole bunch of hot glue in here. Should be fine. Let's finish it up. Now I can just level out just fine. Now the outer tube of this is something I'm trying. I don't know if it's actually going to work the way it would in my perfect world. If it doesn't, it doesn't really matter. Worst case, I have the proper hole here. If it works the way that I hope it does, basically the pour spout inside, like this inner tube, the inner one will actually be the hole through the silicone. So that'll be where I can actually access to pour resin. Can't reach it, but hopefully it's close enough. And the outer one is the hole in the actual mold jacket. There's an outer one and a smaller inner one. And my hope here is I've always just had a single hole, which very often means that what happens is if you have a little bit of overspill out or a plug that goes in here comes dislodged, it's very easy to get resin sticking to the mold jacket. It isn't really a problem, it's more of just an annoyance. You have to be careful it's not too much, because otherwise it might stick and crack and cause problems. I've never had a real problem, my hope is that with a longer spout, basically I can have an outer rigid space, a smaller silicone one that I can actually shove a cork into that will survive. That is my hope. this guy needs to go in here like that. It's almost completely vertical. Fantastic. Good job, box. Only stretching it a little. It's a bit of stretch. Alright, so that should be it for hot glue. Actually, no. Hold on to that for a second. Because this tube has been badly abused. I didn't just literally drop a piece in there. Be a little smarter than that. So, well, this is the pour spout. Well, paper towel tube, or toilet paper tube, or whatever it is, totally fine to get stuff in there. It's the same size, that's not going to work. One thing I've done before that works pretty well is just, because you can buy funnels and stuff, but you can also basically make one. Because what I'm doing is matrix molding, which means you make the mold jacket first, then I'm going to pour silicone into it. So, I've learned, and other people have taught me, that this goes better, works more well, when you have a substantial weight of silicone pushing down, basically. So you can only fill this tube so far. So if you can get a big mass of silicone on here, it will move the other silicone faster, which helps push it into corners and stuff, which is convenient and helpful. So, the way I have accomplished that in the past is to just build a funnel, basically, by gluing a large cup directly to a paper towel tube that's already there. That is like super crooked though. Super crooked. They did a really bad job cutting it. Come on, glue. There we go. Cool. It's gonna seal this up. glue roll mounted hot glue. Make sure it's sealed and also on here really solid. Oh, melting the glue I just put on there. Whoops. Oh, stay. Put you. Damn it, I think this can is empty. Ah, shoot. Yep, making a mess. Goofy mess. That's not doing a lot. Ugh. Compressed air, nitrogen. God, it tastes terrible. This is just a can of compressed air. You turn it upside down and you get instant cold. Because of physics and chemistry. I think it's mostly physics. Alright, so once that cools off, that should be pretty darn solid there. Yeah. Cool. Alright, now I have a funnel. So now I can pour a whole bunch of silicone in here and make a mess. Just to be extra safe, I'm going to throw some foil tape on here. Come on. There it goes. This is the stuff that gets used in air ducting, so it's the stuff that is actually made for sealing up air ducts and making them airtight. Plus, it's cool and it's made of metal, and it's also super sticky. And we'll add a little bit of structure. Alright, cool. Funnel. I'm not sure how well they show on camera. There's all these little circles, and inside each one of those circles is a hole. Those holes are my bleeder holes, which is where air is going to come out. Because silicone, being a liquid, just like any other liquid, will rise to find its own level. Meaning, as long as there's no resistance, no matter where you pour it, everything will flatten out into a single level. Again, as long as there's no resistance, and pockets of air are resistance. So if you've got like a cavity on top of something and the water is rising up, if it traps air, it can't push the air. The air is not going to go down into the water and move. The water is just going to go as far as it can compress that air, which is not a whole lot. And then it's going to stop. So what you do is you drill bleed holes, which are basically all the high points. Easy way to test this is to treat them as low points and fill it with water and make sure everything drains out. If there's any water left over, drill a hole there, make sure it drains out. That way, you just plug them up as you fill it, and you should be good. I also like to do a handful in not necessarily necessary places. So that, like, there's a couple here on the sides that are pretty unnecessary. But it's a way for me to track progress and how far up this mold the silicone has gone. So I always put them all the way at the bottom, just so I can see when it gets there. So I know that it's working. Because if it never gets there, obviously I have a problem. So. Well, I have enough of this. I'm going to do this in 30, I'm going to do it in 15. So this is Smooth On's Mold Star 15. Mine has some crap in it, apparently. Not terribly surprising. It's probably been sitting for a while, so let's see. Oh, good. This one is not too bad. Sometimes you have to, depending on how long this stuff is sat, I'll check the white side. It can, it's got filler in it, so if it sits for a long enough time, the filler will settle out. Like when you get a new tub of this stuff, mixing it can be a real challenge, because I bought gallon kits of this that had like ½ an inch of filler on the bottom, and you have to get that evenly distributed through the whole thing. And they fill these like all the way to the top. So it's just, it takes a really long time, and it is physically just a lot of work. So this is actually pretty good. Only a little bit. Very little bit. I'm going to check one thing, because Mold Star is a platinum pure silicone. And one of the traits of platinum pure silicones is that they are affected by heat. And it has been very warm in Los Angeles. Oh, there we go. See that big glob? That's filler. So all that's gotta get scraped off the bottom and mixed back into the rest of this rubber to make sure that I've got the right ratios. Because this stuff, Mold Star, is designed to be mixed by volume. And that volume is, the ratios are calibrated based on filler being evenly distributed. So basically what they do to make stuff work by volume is they add inert fillers. It's usually Cavasil or fumed silica, which is basically glass. So it doesn't react with anything, it just takes up space. So if it's all settled at the bottom, you end up with more active chemical. And that can throw off the ratio of what you're doing. There's chemicals. I can do all sorts of things. Not recording yet. I like using actual paint sticks, which is what these are. Well, these are actually mixing sticks from Reynolds. Moose! How's it going, dude? You up late or early? This is the Star-Lord mold. It's finally getting poured. I'm guessing late. Yeah, late. It is Saturday. Normal people aren't doing stuff. I know Kay was painting like all day today. Right? She was doing Spider-Man the last couple of times I checked in on her. Didn't see the final though. I will. Oh yes, showers. I'm gonna take such an awesome shower tonight. Okay. There we go. So I measured this out earlier because I had clay in here to represent where the silicone will go. When I pulled it all out to clean the mold, I saved it. I set it aside. So what you do is you take the clay, you throw it in a bucket, you fill that bucket with water, or so it at least covers the clay. You measure that, pour out the water, you measure the water, then you subtract the water from the clay and water, and that gives you the exact volume of the clay, which is the volume of silicone you need. So I need 32 ounces. What did I measure this at? Ounces. 32 ounces of silicone, or 16 ounces of part A and part B. Now, I finished the thought that I was saying earlier. Because it's been so hot here in Los Angeles, it was 112 here today. And it's currently raining. We do not get warm rain in Los Angeles. It doesn't rain in the summer. It rains in the winter. We get like pouring rain in the winter sometimes. It's currently raining an 85-degree day out of a clear sky. If you live anywhere east of the Rockies, that's probably normal to you. It's not normal in Los Angeles. Kit was saying she has never seen that the entire time she's lived here. Ever. I think I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times in San Diego when I lived there. But because it's been so warm, I'm going to mix in some of this stuff called Slow Joe, which is platinum's pure silicone retarder, which means it slows it down. So that this has got a little extra time to sit, because Mold Star 15 fully cures in 4 hours. So because it's been so warm, that may very well be faster. Which means my pot life is only 45 minutes. So that's from the time I start mixing to the time it starts to set up. And I need to degas it, need to get it all in here, let it settle, let all the air rise out, etc., etc. So I can give it a little bit extra time. That would be good. Mold Star. So I go 1% by weight. That gives me 50% more working time and cure time. Wow, that does not take much. So 1% by weight. So that means I have to measure out, that was part B, I said? Yeah. Part B, I have to measure out my volume, go weigh it, then I can do a percentage of that. I've had the air conditioner running down here basically for like 2 days straight. So I may not need this, but I'm going to do it to give it some extra time. Because I'm going to pour this and go to sleep anyway, so I don't need it done in 4 hours. Normally I like that this is done so relatively quick. This is part B. Yeah? It's part B, yeah. Blue bucket's part B. That's what I thought. Hey, Vex! Another night owl up late. So I'm gonna mix up extra of this. I'm gonna go all the way to 20. In case I missed any play, or I changed the way that I set this up, or anything. I would rather have too much than too little. Now let's weigh this. $7.66. What is 1% of 7.66? Yeah, 7.66. That's math. It's 1:30 in the morning. I don't need to be good at math. Not all of downtown LA smells like pee, just most of it. LA Live, where AX was, is a really, really crappy area. Alright. 8. Before they built LA Live, which was less than 10 years ago, that was just a crappy part of town. Kid was at USC when LA Live got built. Used to be, like, the Staples Center has been there a long time. But before they built LA Live and everything else, yeah, it was basically the ghetto. Like, it's just crappy. Oh yeah, I believe it. There are a lot of just. That's a terrible neighborhood. She's told me stories of when it opened, they were sending free shuttles over to USC to try and get people to go, to get foot traffic, just to get people going there. And the USC kids would not go because that was a bad part of town. And USC is in a bad part of town. So. Alright. This is not. Oh, there we go. But yeah, I totally believe there was much pea smell. Yeah, it's not a great place. So it's like it's weird to do conventions there. Like any of the cons where you're in a costume or doing anything like that, walking around. Like you don't want to. It's probably straight up not safe. I mean, during the day, I'm sure it's probably not terrible. Um, but conventions that run kind of late, um, you don't you don't want to be like parking 6 blocks away and walking over, which is what people are used to doing at a con. Uh, it's not good. And there is nothing outside of LA Live. That's the other thing is you have LA Live, that area right there, which is like what 5 restaurants, most of which are like the high end of chain. Unless you can get to like Yard House at happy hour, in which case it's just normal, slightly overpriced restaurant food. I mean, you got nothing else for blocks around. I am told there is a good sushi place just a few blocks away. But I have not been to the one that my friends have mentioned. I've been to went to one sushi place that was pretty good, but their service was atrocious. And we had like 6 people, and like it took us. I don't know, I feel like it took us over 2 hours. So I want to use this mixer because it actually scrapes the bottom. Look at a bunch of. Still has a bunch of silicone on it from last mold I made for Vulcan. And it's a tin cure. I know that platinum silicones do not play well with many things. I know a lot of people who are like straight up paranoid, like superstitious about using platinum silicone. Dang. I think they're breaking all over the place today. I've only ever had, I think, two times where I had Mold Star not cure completely, and one of them was salvageable. I've had Rebound give me issues once or twice, but I think that was possibly my own fault, because it was just the print layer, and I used to go really heavy on thinner on the print layer. So I could see that causing problems. But I have not had, like, I know plenty of people who like refuse to use Mold Star. Oh, actually follow Tortilla Jack 123. Tortilla Jack taken. And they had the numbers on. That's always my assumption whenever I see numbers in someone's username, because they were not the first. I have no usernames. I've never had a username with a number in it. I don't do it. I just tweak spellings or add underscores and extra letters and stuff. Get out of there. Sure. Or what is that? Abradoff or Abradoff? Yeah, Tortilla Jack's a fun name though. But by and large, I have been pretty fortunate with platinum. I actually had never used tin-cured silicone rubber until a couple months ago. The stuff I'm scraping off of this speed mixer right now is the only batch of it I've ever used, at least in my shop. Frank uses it extensively at his, with good reason. I think a lot of larger shops use tin cure because it's a lot more bulletproof. And most of the time, you're not going for like 50 copies of a thing out of a mold. You just need like 10 right now, and you need it to just work. So for anyone curious what I'm rambling about, there's two kinds of silicone rubber: platinum cure and tin cure. Tin cure is theoretically cheaper. The smooth-on stuff, not really. You just tend to get less of it. So I mean, it's a bit cheaper, but you're also getting less volume. So I started using Platinum Cure actually because when I lived in San Diego, I worked outside a lot and it was really humid. And tin cure silicone is affected by humidity. It's an evaporation cure. It doesn't care about heat. There's no way to speed it up other than chemical acceleration. Like putting it in an oven does nothing. But moisture can affect it. It's like, oh, I don't want that. I'll get platinum. It doesn't care about water. I didn't read at the time that platinum cares about everything else under the sun. I have some friends who swear, like, you look at mold star funny, it won't cure right. I haven't had that problem, but platinum is affected by petroleums, a lot of paints, other platinum rubbers sometimes, tin cure rubbers, latex, urethane, a lot of paints, some clear coats, all sorts of crap. Heat. But that does mean that you can heat it up and make it cure faster, which is why I put the slow down stuff in here, slow dough. Because it's been so hot here, I would rather have this take a little bit longer. It's going to sit overnight no matter what. So. What do I do with the finished projects? I'm a professional prop maker. This is what I do. I make props for a living, so I sell everything. Pretty much everything that I make is technically a commission, meaning that somebody paid me money to make it in the first place. This is a mold for my Star-Lord helmet. I would show you the pretty version, but it's inside right now. And it's getting remade because I have a bunch of orders to fill, and my old mold is dead. I literally threw it away earlier in the week. So, alright, so I gotta mix this up so I can start pouring. Because it's almost 2 in the morning and I want to take a shower and get some sleep. So I got less than 4 hours last night. So I was up until 6 a.m. polishing this guy because wax is a jerk. Came out gorgeous, but my god, did it take forever.
So, these smooth-on buckets,
are, they have numbers and stuff. I have these other buckets that have, I've never quite mastered this. They have these numbers on here broken down to like 1 by 1, 2 to 2, 4 to 1, which I'm pretty sure the way this would work is you would just go like 1 of part A, 1 of part B, and they're gradiated so that you just fill it to the appropriate lines in each column, and you would be good to go. So if you wanted you wouldn't have to do the actual volume. You could just go like, I want this much, and go to the corresponding line, I think. I've never looked it up, I'm not really sure. I just look at the thing and go like, this is 20, so I'm going to throw another 20 in there and fill it to 40, and mix the crap out of it. That's what the speed mixer is for. This speed mixer. This is actually a cheap $3 Harbor Freight speed mixer. I have a much more expensive, fancier one from Reynolds that I almost never use. I use this one a lot more because it's flat on the bottom, so it's at the bottom of the bucket. I consider that a bonus. The other one will not. So, alright, so 20 plus 20 is 40. Should be more than I need. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. Last time I shot silicone all over my shoes. Now, if you do this, you absolutely have to use a vacuum chamber. It's basically not optional, because doing that adds a ton of air. So you really have to vacuum degas this, or you're just going to have a ton of air in your rubber, which means a ton of air in your mold, which can cause all sorts of headaches. This much air, you're very liable to get bubbles actually on the surface. For what I'm doing with the matrix mold, I really don't want air bubbles in here. So I'm going to start the vacuum chamber, and then I'm going to bring the camera over and show you guys what that looks like. I think it's really cool. This actually has to be in a bigger bucket. This is totally going to rise right over that. So what I'm actually going to do, I guess the second bucket. So when you degas silicone, it rises a lot. So what you're doing is you're literally subjecting it to as close to actual vacuum, as in the vacuum space, as you can get. being that all the air bubbles in it expand dramatically, so it just suddenly takes up a lot more room. But I've gotten around to actually finishing my new vacuum chamber. I use both of these at once. Okay. We're gonna go for a quick little field trip. Let's see. Maybe we can see that pretty well. Come on. Yes. That is what we want to see. Now it's going to sit there and boil for a while. Ow. So the reason it goes in a bigger bucket like that is so that it hopefully does exactly what it just did, which is rise up and then actually collapse. If you have a smaller bucket, you just kind of have to keep popping the air pressure and letting the bubbles drop back down. It's way faster and more efficient. You can just let them rise up until they literally break and everything collapses under its own weight. So that was perfect. I'm going to let that one go for a little while. I won't pop it out until this one. And yes, my stuff costs exactly what it's worth. So things like the Winter Soldier arm, that chrome plating is real chrome. So it's plated with rhodium, which costs roughly, I think last time I looked, $1,400 an ounce. Plus the labor of, I pay a shop to do it. And I think he's got to do one of my arms, at least 2 guys working for 2 days. So a large percentage of that cost is just cost. But it is real metal skin on the outside when it's done. And like the Star-Lord helmets that I sell finished, that's just my labor. It takes me at least 3 days to put one of these together, from a kit. And all the other stuff that I've got on there, kits, helmets and things, those are pretty standardized prices. I came up with those prices based on other popular prop makers who had similar things already for sale. Because pricing kits is kind of tough. Finding a value of time to initial work that goes into a thing. So, alright, I'm going to drop this on the floor for a second and pour the first batch. Actually, it's not have to go. I can do it right here. No clay. I got my clay handy. See if I can do this with clay. I have a bunch of screws, but I often use screws for this too. Screws are more reliable to plug the holes, but the rubber here is a lot thinner than I've done before, and sometimes the screws make a bit of a pocket, so. I like to kind of be double sure with stuff like this. So even when I degas things, I still, whenever possible, do what is referred to as the high pour, which is basically as far as you can go up. With the idea being that if you pour the silicone in a thin stream, it stretches, and most of the bubbles pop while it's stretching. So it's Smooth On sort of advocates it as a way for people who don't have a degassing chamber to kind of maximize their results. I figure, why not do both? And hi, Andrew. Great, so there's the bottom. Silicone is leaking out of the bottom there. That's what I like to see. Really, it's crooked that way. So I'm all the way up to the flange here on that side. So that's the same reason I do this. I like to roll it around, because it stretches the bubbles out, and gives it a thinner space. Actually, I need that stick. You can't have that stick yet, Box. I need it. Have this one. Definitely no spoilers. I'm not going to get to see Spider-Man for a long time, probably. Looks like I could have gotten away without the funnel on this one. This one's just moving through here. Well, I'm worried I'm going to need more. I'm trying to pour it actually onto the side of the cup as opposed to directly down the hole. Now, if there are any bubbles, it's got to run over some surface, which gives it more chance to pop, as opposed to dumping it straight in the mold. Ah, good, we're almost there. think I do need a little bit more now. Yep, I need more. Dang. I even mixed up extra. Alright, so I guess either I seeded this very poorly, or the way that I did my dividing wall this time is different than the way that I did it when I first did this part, and when I made the mother mold. So I like to kind of let things kind of bleed a bit. So again, we're trying to make sure we're not trapping air. So sometimes it's actually a good idea. Just kind of let it run a little bit. In case there is air in there, so it can get out. It's one of the reasons I like using screws, is I can go back and I can individually like pop a screw if there's a spot that I suspect is being troublesome. But I have to mix it more silicone like right now. So I don't need much. I'm just going to go. I don't even need that much. The first marker I've got up here is 8, so that's my first reliable number. I can go. Let's go down to that. Let's just do a total of 8. I think I can safely do that. Put a little bit of slow drill. It didn't take much. I'm just going to put like a literal splash in there. This is definitely not enough to warrant a speed mixture. Hopefully this is enough. Worst case, let's get some more pucks for mixing stuff on. I've heard very good things about Spider-Man Homecoming. I am looking forward to it. It's going to be by itself. Excuse me. Get this stuff moving a little bit. It's leaking out of my tape over here a little bit. do what I'm doing right now and move it around like this, and, pop stuff open and kind of move it, make sure you let the silicone start to flow out of those holes again before you plug them up. Otherwise, you're trapping air, which is the whole thing we're trying to avoid with these. Now, this should, hopefully, be entirely too much. That would be great. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Let's see, just fill this thing up. Good. I'd much rather have too much. So it's currently up to here on the cup. I probably can't see that. Pop all these again. I just like to shift it around a little bit so it's got a chance, just in case like I didn't, so I'm doing the best I can to get bleed holes in the correct places, but there's never any guarantee you get 100% of them. That's the whole thing, okay? So is that one. Alright. So just in case, because you're kind of making your best guess that these are the high points / low points. I'm not seeing any air bubbles in the silicone as it moves at all, which is great. I don't want to see any. But like I said, I do like to open it up a little bit and just kind of shift things around a little, because sometimes you're close. I've noticed that, at least for me and my molds, the most frequent places I end up with air bubbles, if I don't get it just right, is right next to a bleeder that I put in. A lot of times there's just like a little wobble, and like another like 1/8 of an inch to the side was the actual, like, there was another low spot or something. Yeah, I just like shoved like these holes, so. Ooh, there's an air bubble. Alright, there's a couple on that guy. So this one's got some air in it. Right. Good, glad I did that. We'll show you this one again. Yep, some air in that one too. It's pretty full of clay, so it's going to be fussy. That's it. some more air. So yeah, this one's got some air in it. Whoa! Bits! I'm pretty sure did the ones down here mainly so it would have a low point. So that shouldn't really affect much. This is the second highest spot right here. This guy, like if air was to just like straight rise up somewhere, this is where it should go. The back half of this is pretty conveniently shaped, really. Because this is the high point for most stuff. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much. Once I'm satisfied that this isn't going to do anything stupid and there's not a bunch more air trapped in here, it just has to sit for like 9 hours, actually. Since I, add this slow go to it. 9 hours now. A lot of these are like, that's like apparently shoved like into these holes. I don't want to like shove it in there further. That would be stupid. Yeah. There we go. I just grabbed a paper clip to kind of poke at it a little bit. I want that one to flow more. There's a high point on that flange there. So yeah, once I'm convinced that there's no air floating around in here, I get to go to bed. I get to clean up a little bit, close everything up, and go take a shower and get some sleep. Oh, that bit's still open. I should close that again. Let's seal that one back off. That's where there's so much here. This one is. Oh, it's closed. It's electric open for a while. Sleep is the thing that I have not had a normal human amount of weeks. I believe I am entitled to it. Seriously, I think I've had um, one day where I got 8 hours. I think 8 hours. I'm normally a 9 hours to be rested person, and I've had one day where I got 8 in the last like 3 weeks. These days have weird before. Let's double check on it. Alright, they're happy now. That one's happy. There we go. You guys happy now? Also happy. The other reason to have a lot of excess silicone in the tank up here, funnel thing, is in case you don't completely plug a leak or you miss one, because sometimes like the flange won't be 100% sealed. It seems like you did a good job. Nothing's leaking out the sides here. That's always really nice to see, or to not see. But if you have a bunch in there, it will not do as well with my hot glue as I thought. That's where events of surprises like that. So if there are slow leaks, it's not a big deal. Yeah, I can't actually do anything about that, so that's just going to be a slow leak. The silicone is pretty viscous, so it doesn't flow super great. Which sometimes good, sometimes bad. Like I want it to flow like water inside there, just go everywhere. That's what I want. But once it is everywhere, I want it to stop. I want it to stop doing anything else. And just stay put, basically. But I don't actually mind having a couple of slow leaks. It means the silicone keeps moving. Which, to my mind, seems like a way to have fewer bubbles. Really? You're getting me. Slow that down. This stuff is going to take double the time I'm used to, so I should probably make sure it's not going to leak too much. The last thing you want is to come out and find this is dropped down, and I just have only part of the mold. Alright, I think it's good. I don't think there's any reason to poke at anything else. More bits. Thanks, Andrew. I'm going to change the size of that so I can actually see what that number is. It's I can't tell if that's 1 bit or 15 single unit bits. I don't actually know how it works that well. Yeah, I figure that if they're, if silicone is moving, it's like a river, it's a current. And as current moves, it carries things with it, including air. That's my theory. It makes sense to me from a physics kind of perspective. So, I can't tell if this is traveling along the edge or if it's actually leaking out of the edge. Ah, okay, so you can you can treat it like currency. Cool. Or, like, denominations of money, I guess, is what I was thinking. Now, I don't know if it's literally leaking out of the flange here, or if it's just hit, that ledge and travel along it. I can't tell. Alright, yeah, that was pretty sure, so. Okay, alright, I think that is good. So this stuff also gets to just sit. Put a little bit more in there. The silicone is actually easier to clean out if there is a substantial amount of it in a bucket. If there's enough of it to evenly coat something, like thick enough, it doesn't. When it's really thin, it tears. Especially this stuff. 15 is pretty flexible. So there's enough of it to actually coat something, like coat your bucket. Then you can just let it cure in place and peel it out. So tomorrow, I get to open this up. Clean out clay. And repeat for the other half. But I am going to clean these up a little bit. I try to clean up, I stay in the habit of cleaning up my supplies as I use them. I find I do better if I just stay in the habit of cleaning it every time, as opposed to, I'll just leave it till the end tomorrow. But sometimes you get. That was just the box. I think this one might. Oh yeah, I lifted up. Both of these did. That's what's going on. Thought that might be what was happening. Yeah. This is one of the reasons that clay can be a risk if it doesn't fully stick. Like that one that I checked, the reason this one right here on the edge was, I'm seeing a lot of silicone here because last time I popped these off and pulled it down, it didn't completely stick, so the clay kind of floated off the silicone and it was just leaking away. Please check. And there's enough in here, I don't think, even with 9 hours to settle, it was going to cause me grief. But this way, I feel safe. Better to be safe than sorry, right? Okay. Everything's just got to hang out now, so I'm going to say good night, everybody. Thank you, those of you who are watching. Thank you, new follower. Something about tacos? Tortillas. Tortilla, whoever you were, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I forgot your name already. Yeah, 2:30 in the morning. On less than 4 hours of sleep. Or about 4 hours of sleep. I'm allowed to be forgetful. So, alrighty. I'm Phil Stream, and maybe join me tomorrow when I do the other half. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.